Hello everyone. In this session, we are going to discuss the ArgoCD components. Okay. So first of all, uh, ArgoCD is a CD based tool. Okay. So it's a continuous delivery tool. So in this case, it is a pull based mechanism. It is using it pull based GitOps tool, which I told you GitOps tool. Okay. So in this case, what happens? You will be having a Git repository here. Okay. This is your Git repository, Git repo. Here ArgoCD is running. Okay, and this is your Kubernetes cluster, which is the destination. So Argo CD will be monitoring this Git repo for the changes. So if any changes happens, Argo CD will be monitoring that thing. Okay, any changes happen, Argo CD runs the pull mechanism, and publish these changes, basically update these changes to the Kubernetes cluster. Now question comes, how Argo CD is doing this thing? Because it should have some set of tools or set of things using that it will be doing it, correct? So Argo CD mainly have components which is there, like okay, it has application controller, then your uh, repo server, application controller, repo server, and your dex, redis, and API server. So these are the major components which Argo CD will be using and doing the things for you. Okay, let's start one by one. What exactly each of these component is doing it and what is its role, correct? So let's start with the API server first. Okay, so API server is the UI component. Okay, whenever I want or any user wants to communicate to the Argo CD, they will be communicating to the API server. So whether you are using CLI or UI interface of Argo CD, you will be communicating through API server. So API server, what it does, it will validate your APIs, whether I'm sharing my YAML file. So the API validation part is with the API server, because we will be using the CRDs, custom resource definition, and that custom resource definition I will be creating the YAML file, and that will be either using CLI and UI. I will submit to the API server. They will validate and they will definitely check the authentication part as well, whether I am able to, I am have the permissions to perform the operations or not. Now comes to the GitOps part of it, because definitely Argo CD has to monitor the Git repo, correct? So how they monitor it? There is a component running here that is called repo server. So repo server will be monitoring your Git repository. If any changes happens, they will pull the changes. Okay. Now third thing, which is very important component here, is that is application controller. You can see that is the core of Argo CD, correct? So application controller, it will go and see that okay, what has supposed to be deployed. It will map that okay, any changes which is under the Git repo has happened, whether the changes are implemented into the Kubernetes cluster or not. Okay, so that is comes under the application controller. So application controller will, if any drift also happens, they will report it. What is the current state? They will be keep on monitoring it. If there is any changes between the current state and desired state, they will be giving the warning, or otherwise automatically they will be reverting it back. So application controller is the core of Argo CD. Okay, then comes the fourth component, that is dex. That is, if you want to configure SSO, then you will be using the dex server. And fifth is the redis, that is for the caching thing, because I will be sending the request, receiving it. So every time I will not go in the database and fetch the information. If any frequent information I need it, then it will be coming from the redis database. All of these components which I am talking about, all of these components will be installed whenever you will be setting up the Argo CD environment in your Kubernetes cluster. Okay, let's go and discuss how we'll be setting up the environment. So first of all, you should have Kubernetes running there, because as I mentioned, Argo CD is a Kubernetes based tool. So it means first of all, you should have Kubernetes cluster must be running. must be running. Top of that only you can go and create the ArgoCD. Set up the install the ArgoCD. So you will create the namespace and the namespace name must be ArgoCD only. Under that, you will be going and installing the ArgoCD CRDs. Okay. Basically, three CRDs are there. CRDs are custom resource definition. So three CRDs are there: application, application set, and app project. Okay. So these are the three CRD we will be installing it. They all come under the same API only, argoproj.io alpha 1 v1. Okay, alpha v1, they all comes under the same crds, same apis. So these are the certain things you should know. All of these components will be running under the same namespace. When I say all of these components, API server, controller, repo server, then your dex and redis, all of these will be running under the same namespace. So these are the standard architecture how ArgoCD has been designed and what are the prerequisites to set up the cluster. If you want to set up the cluster, you can just go and check the documentation of ArgoCD. Um, I'll just open my Chrome browser and I'll just show you. If I want to set up the cluster, how will I set it up? I'll go here, ArgoCD installation. Okay, you just check it out. And here only it will be speaking about how you can go and set it up. So this is the step I have used it to set it up. I have created the namespace first, and then I have used the kubectl command to implement the changes, to implement the ArgoCD CRDs on top of the Kubernetes cluster. So it has the install.yaml file. If you go and open it, it will be having all the component mentioned here. I'll just show you my deployment. It is in the EKS cluster. So if I run the command argocd get all hyphen name, sorry, hyphen n argocd. Okay, sorry, argocd get pods. If I show you, sorry, not argocd, kubectl. My bad. Sorry guys, kubectl get all, not argocd get all. Kubectl get all. If I do it, you'll be able to see all these components are there. You can see that dex server is there, application controller set is there, ArgoCD server is there, this is the API server, this is repo server is there. So all of these components are installed as the part of ArgoCD install.yaml file. Okay, one more thing I want to show you, kubectl API hyphen resources. If I run it and grab for Argo, you'll see there three CRDs are there: application, application set, and app projects, and these all are part of the same APIs, argoproj.io v1 alpha 1. Okay, so same APIs we are using it. Now we will be going to write the application CRDs. Okay, I will explain you that how we will write it and how Argo will know which is the source and which is the destination. All these things we will be discussing in detail. We will be having the follow-up labs in the next session. So all these things will be explained in detail as well. Thank you everyone. Thanks for attending the session.